Data shows Christianity is the fastest declining religion today.
Paul, did you hear what he just said? Christianity is the fastest declining religion. Now look at the chart.
Yeah, I did pick up on that as well. I'm like, you didn't phrase that very well. It's fastest declining. Here's a chart going up. And it's like, well, I mean...
I couldn't see that. I wasn't looking behind me, so I didn't know what he had on the screen. But I did see people giggling and laughing and pointing at things, pointing at his slides and stuff like that while he was talking. I didn't know what they were pointing at, but this is probably one of them.
He doesn't even know what he's putting on the screen. Man.
By the way, that same study. So Muslims will look at that. Look, Muslims are growing faster. That same study said it's because of Muslim birth rates. Muslims have higher birth rates, and when you look into why Muslims have higher birth rates, it doesn't support Islam. It's because they offer far fewer opportunities for women to be educated or to have careers and so on. And so they basically turn them into baby-making machines. The number of converts coming into Islam is offset by the people leaving Islam. So you're not gaining any ground by converts. It's birth rates.
And they also said that the decline of Christianity in America, I think, has come to a halt.
Measured by church attendance has actually started increasing over the past few years.
There is similarities, but there are key differences. So if the Quran is confirming every single verse and statement within the Bible, and it is contradicting it, are you saying that the Quran is ignorant of the contents of the Bible?
Absolutely.
Then
just like, what did you think you were going to say?
No.
I've had a sudden change of mind.
I mean, the comments are just on David's side for sure. I mean, like, it's just, the Islamic dilemma made me leave Islam. This debate proved I wasn't wrong in doing so. This is something. I can't believe people are still listening to the guy that thinks PDF is okay. Yeah. Let's not forget that debate I had with Daniel, which he will have to deal with for the rest of his life, because it really exposed how dark his interpretation of Islam is.
But there's one verse that completely destroys this argument.
One verse.
It's Quran 3:50, where Jesus speaks to the Jews and says, I, meaning Jesus, have come to confirm the truth of the Torah which preceded me and to make some things lawful to you which used to be forbidden. I have come to you with a sign from your Lord. Fear God and obey me. This verse is significant because it uses the same construction that the Islamic dilemma people cite, musaddiqan lima bayna yaday. Christian apologists mention every verse with musaddiqan lima bayna yaday, but they skip this one for some reason. They conveniently skip it because it destroys their entire life.
I love that verse.
Didn't that verse start off with Jesus saying that he confirms the Torah?
Yes. I love that verse. I use it all the time.
Yeah, me too.
When they try to say that the Torah in Jesus' time was corrupted, chapter 3 verse 50 says he came confirming that Torah. Along with chapter 5 verse 46. So it's like, bro, what?
And I will confirm the Torah revealed before me and legalize some of what has been forbidden to you. I have come to you with a sign from your Lord. So be mindful of Allah and obey me. And Daniel's basic argument was like, well, he's confirming the Torah, but he's abrogating or legalizing some things. So therefore, this is proof the Quran can come and change things and like abrogate things apparently in the prior scriptures.
I think what he's kind of missed is abrogation isn't the problem here. It's things that can't be abrogated that are different. So the theology of God, like his nature, his attributes, cannot change. But the Quran presents a different picture than what's found in the previous scriptures. But for some reason, he thinks he can make this analogous with legal commands. And hence, he's like, hey, look, you see, Jesus, he legalized some of the stuff. That means he changed it. That means that there are other authorities. But again, it doesn't help if, your previous scriptures talk about God being triune or talk about God being a father in a real spiritual sense. And then your scripture comes along and goes, no, actually, no, that's not true.
Now David had a brilliant response to this because he just sort of blew this out of the water.
So Daniel concluded with Surah 3, verse 50, saying that, well, Jesus said he confirmed the Torah between his hands, and yet he said he was coming to change things. Yeah, that's called abrogation in Islam. If you're going to say abrogation, you abrogate a verse. If that means the other verse had been corrupted, well, great. There are verses in the Quran that abrogate other verses, and therefore the Quran's been. Thank you, Daniel.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. That's why he that man. That's why he's that man, because that was quick.
It doesn't say things like use the gospel, Christians, but I'm going to change some things for you. I'm going to legalize some things for you, and you'll know what that is with the Quran. Allah doesn't do this maneuver that you see here, that what Daniel's saying here with Christians in the Quran. He just says use the gospel. You're meant to be different communities. Use that. You're good.
You've got Muhammad. If Muhammad thinks he's a prophet and he doesn't know what's in the Torah apart from things he's heard, and he doesn't know what's in the gospel apart from things he's heard, but he doesn't know whether the people who are talking are misrepresenting certain things or whether they're representing things accurately and so on. So he thinks the actual scriptures agree with him, but he's wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. It fits all the evidence. It explains why the Quran is affirming scriptures that ultimately contradict Islam. It explains everything, does so well. It doesn't require a bunch of extra assumptions. If you go with the Islamic view of all this, you have to start, oh, this means this, and we have to add this, and maybe he means this and this, and then you end up with just tons and tons and tons of gymnastics. Ibn Abbas is his cousin, and Daniel called him his nephew. And so people are calling into question how much he actually knows.
I remember a long time ago when I first was introduced to Farid, he made a video in which he was trying to prove to Muslims that I don't know anything about Islam. He took then an example where I am in a video saying, in this hadith, we see that Ali said this and this, and then this other guy said this and this. And by this other guy, I was referring to Ibn Abbas. He took that as an example for me not knowing who Ibn Abbas is, because I said, and this other guy, and was thereby trying to prove that I don't know anything about Islam. Within that context, think about Daniel Kiketju falsely identifying Ibn Abbas. Didn't he learn, man? Didn't he pay attention to anything over the last few years? Mohammed Hijab invited Bart Ehrman on just to do the regular thing of using Bart Ehrman as an authority to affirm Islam and criticize Christianity and criticize the authenticity of the Bible and all that. Bart Ehrman does not agree with the Islamic viewpoint. Bart Ehrman, I asked him myself, agrees that the New Testament was largely written by people who witnessed Jesus or his disciples. Bart Ehrman vastly agrees that the majority of what you read in the New Testament is authentic. He also agrees that the majority of what the New Testament says about Jesus is authentic, despite his criticism and despite his skepticism. Bart Ehrman also agrees that there is no doubt that the disciples of Jesus, whom he himself picked, believed in the divinity of Jesus after the death and resurrection of Jesus. He also says that the disciples of Jesus, the immediate disciples, his immediate followers whom he entrusted, they saw him resurrect and they believed that he is God. In a sense, he also believes that the incarnation message and the divinity of Christ is a theme that may have already existed before Paul, and so on. So, citing Bart Ehrman here as an authority about the New Testament is as dumb as it gets if you want to make the point that the New Testament might be disconnected, there might be no blah, 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 blah. He is telling you that you should that the disciples believed in the divinity of Christ. That's literally what Bart Ehrman believes. If you as Muslims want to use him as an authority on this, then you should also trust that the disciples did believe in the divinity of Jesus. If Muslims are consistent with their own beliefs, they are expected to respect what the disciples said and wrote about Jesus. They're expected to trust Jesus. They're expected to respect Jesus. If Jesus himself picked those disciples, then that means the disciples that he himself picked believed in his divinity. That means Christianity is correct. That means Islam is false. You idiots.